Hey everyone, Al Fragnoli, joined again this week by Trevor Maloney. As you know already, Trevor Maloney is a leadership coach. He's a guru. He's a growth strategist for ILEC. Trevor, you've got a fantastic mindset when it comes to having the right mindset for leading teams. We are starting the 4-part mini series here this month in February about the mental mindset and why leaders need to have the right frame of mind to have success. So thanks, Trevor, for coming on. We're excited to talk to you again.
No, thank you so much for having me again. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. So let's dive right into it, Trevor. You were a college baseball player. You've had a lot of success athletically in your business early on in your career as well. Why don't you talk a little bit about some of the mindset that you've taken from your sports playing days, how you were able to translate to the business world, and how you've been able to have success early on here in your career?
Yeah, great question. And I think mindset, I always say if you change your mind, you can change your life. And I think that not only holds true in my athletic background, but also, when I entered into the, professional world, right? When I look back at my athletic career, there was one mindset that I had that I truly believe allowed me to create a slight edge against my competition on the field, as well as inspire my team, right? My fellow baseball players on my team, and that was the will to win. And so, I think in today's world, we shy away from the idea that it's about winning and it's about performance. And I hesitate to go that route because I think that winning is very important. Not only because winning it feels good, but you also learn what it takes to be successful when you win. You also learn what it takes to be successful when you don't win. And so the greatest athletes in the world, they showed up with one goal in mind: to win the game, right? And I think we can all agree on that. Now, you can just decide to play a sport and play it to have some fun, and that's great too. But from my experience, it's a lot more fun to play a sport when you're winning than when you're losing, right? And so that idea, that mindset of the will to win, to do what it takes, all the way from the preparation to the execution on the field, as well as leading by an example. So when you have that will to win and you have that slight edge mentality, like I always say, you're going to perform at your best all the time. And especially if you're a leader on the baseball field, that inspires other people to also bring their A game and perform at the highest level. And I take that into my professional life, which is I still have that will to win. And I love being around other people who have that will to win, because everybody is pushing towards a common goal, towards the vision, mission, purpose of the organization, and ultimately to win at a certain level in capacity in which it makes sense to that organization, to that team, to that individual, whatever. Another way to look at it too, Al, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is the reason why the will to win and leadership is so important in terms of our mindset is because if you go back to that athletic example and you have a really talented player, well, what happens if that talented player stops developing, right? Stops growing. And they say, hey, I'm pretty good at this sport. I'm just going to coast and kind of let my talent guide me to where it's supposed to be. That's never what the greatest athletes do. Just like people who have a desire to win, a desire to grow, a desire to become the best that they can be as professionals, they lean on a mindset of winning, growth, and continued development. Just because you're the CEO, does it mean that you're done growing? Just because you've just got a promotion, does it mean that you stop growing and you're done, right? You're the best that you can be? No. And I think that's when you bring that mentality to it, it not only has to do with your growth as a person and professional, it also has to do with your performance and how much you want to win and become the best that you can be. Make sense?
Absolutely. Trevor, thank you for sharing all that. I want to piggyback a lot of what you said on some of my thoughts and beliefs. You mentioned a couple of things, and I'm going to touch on them real quick. The will to win. I absolutely love that, right? So that's showing your competitiveness. And we all want to be surrounded by people that want to compete. So having that right mindset, if it's athletically, If it's something you learned as an athlete, then you can obviously translate that into the business world, because those people that want to win, that have that desire, that burning desire inside of them to win, they're going to find a way to get the job done no matter what. So I love that you mentioned that. Again, that talks about people's competitiveness, and we all want to be surrounded by competitors. Preparation, you talked about preparation. Are we doing what we need to prepare? That's a mindset aspect as well, right? We need to be in the right mindset so that we can prepare ourselves to put ourselves in a position to be successful. I love that you talked about that. You mentioned being around other people that have the will to win. We don't want to be surrounded by people that are complacent and don't have a burning desire inside of them to want to be great, right? Tom Brady, we talk a little bit of sports background. Tom Brady, obviously, we know just retired. One of the greatest competitors in the sports world that we will have ever witnessed and that we probably ever will witness. His mindset is phenomenal, right? I mean, he wants to bring the people around him and elevate them to a level of greatness. That requires a strong mindset. You mentioned the CEO. If you're a CEO, are you done growing? I always look at that, and you can translate that to Tom Brady as well when you use another sports analogy. He's won so many Super Bowls. What else does he have to prove? Every single day, the man came to work and wanted to compete, wanted to win, and he never was done growing. And that's the thing about the greatest leaders. They're in a mindset where they're never done growing. We're always learning. And just because you're the CEO, the president, the owner of an organization or a company, you're never done growing. And as soon as you do show that you're done growing, your people are not going to have a desire to grow and they don't want to follow you. So I think you mentioned so many great points. Critically important, again, that will to win, the desire to compete at a high level, and preparing yourself to be in a position to achieve success, all stems from us being in the right frame of mind mentally each and every day. And how we go about our business and our lives. So you shared a lot of great content, Trevor. I love it. Hopefully what I shared and piggybacked was fantastic stuff too. We want to hear from you though. So again, this is the first of a 4-part mini series that we're doing here in February that will stem around the mental mindset that leaders must possess if they want to have success in the business world, in their line of work. So if any of this resonated with you, chime in, throw a comment in the comment section here on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, all of our platforms that we'll be sharing it on. And please tune in as well next Monday, each and every Monday in February, as we continue to talk about the mental mindset that leaders must possess. Thank you, Trevor, for coming on. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Al.